All right. Can everyone hear me?
Can't score.
Sweet, sweet. All right, all right.
Clear. Three. Across the line.
Congratulations, Renee. That was awesome.
Thank you.
And welcome back, Soph. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. As always, we do record the Zooms and we'll make sure to distribute. If you want me to send it to you personally, I can do that as well. That said, as a reminder, 15 minutes. You can ask two questions. We do have an honorary first question for the first person who asks, as always, Miss Taylor. If anyone joins us on Zoom, we'll make sure to make space for them. I'll call on them if I see their hands raised. If they aren't on Zoom, then we'll just keep it here in the room. With that said, we'll go ahead and get started. Honorary first.
Same one every time. It's just, can you give me your thoughts on the match?
Oh yeah. My thoughts, honestly, like I'm like blacking out right now. That was just surreal. Such a cool experience, and it was so much fun playing in front of the fans and like alongside people I've been looking up to my whole life. So
And can you talk a little bit about the feeling of just scoring in Providence Park? Granted, the home crowd isn't like full blast, but I mean, we still probably had 8 or 9,000 people here today.
yeah, I can like only imagine what it's like at a real match because that was electric. But it was really cool to be able to score, and I feel like I was just blessed because MA served me like three perfect balls on a platter. So shout out MA. Thank you.
Hi, and then yeah, I guess I'm wondering both of you kind of what the vibe around the team is. So if it's obviously been a second since you've been in, at least like in the match days scheme of things, and then Renee just like through preseason, what's that been like?
I feel like the vibe has been really good. We were just talking in our last huddle, like we've had, I don't even know, maybe like 30 new faces in and out of the team in the last few months. And that's really hard to like keep a high level, keep a high standard when you have so many new faces, so many new teammates. But I just give credit to every single person who's come into this environment and just put their head down and got to work. And I think it just goes to show that this environment just pushes you, I think, every day. And Renee is a perfect example of that. Like she's just come in with the literally one of the best attitudes I've ever been around. She's so positive. She's such a good teammate, and I love to see players like that just get their flowers because it's you see how much work she puts in every single day, and to see it all come out like in that way was just so special. So I'm so proud of her and just every player that we've had coming into the environment.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better. I think like preseason so far coming in, I didn't know what to expect, and I was just so grateful to like be given any type of opportunity at this level, and playing with people like Soph and getting to see her come back after giving birth to the most amazing little baby in the world. It's just so awesome. But yeah, like everyone here has been so welcoming, and it has been like a lot of new faces, and I think everyone has made the level just what it is. And obviously, we're missing some amazing players who are off playing for their national teams, but it's been just the coolest experience so far.
So I guess the question is, Sophia, how do you feel coming back and playing your first minutes in more than a year?
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, I obviously am being very patient with myself. I think coming back from pregnancy is a very different thing. It's very different than coming back from an injury, and I think I'm giving myself grace because of that. But I feel really good. I feel like I've just been so eager to get like my first game minutes, so I feel like I've checked that box. I felt good. And obviously I'm so glad it was here in front of our fans, and I feel good. I'm excited to just keep progressing throughout the season and getting back to full form, but I feel really proud of myself where I'm at right now.
Another one for Soph and then one for both of you. Kind of curious, obviously Bella was out with a baby. Crystal had a baby when you were on the same team. Kind of curious if you've had like players that you've been able to look to for any sort of experience. Because I know Bella talked a lot last year about kind of that being such a progression for her versus like coming back from an injury.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate to have had several teammates go through the same thing. I think the first one I saw go through it was Alex. And I saw her get back to playing at a very high level, and that was inspiring in itself. And then I saw Crystal go through it firsthand, and then Bella, obviously. And I think all of them just did it with such grace, and they did it in a unique way that was best for them. And I think that's the key thing is that everyone is different, every body is different, and everyone has their own path back. So I think just watching them go through it was good for me to see because it showed me that you can do it. And I've always wanted to be a mom. And I think having those teammates go through it just gave me the confidence to do that and still be able to play the game that I love. So I feel fortunate that I've had teammates before me do it and do it with such grace and just show me how how to do it really.
And then for both of you, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about each other's performance in the game today. Obviously, Renee scoring 3 or 4 goals, depending on if we're
Casual first.
the official score line or not. And then so coming back, playing your first minutes in a while, and just like the crowd atmosphere every time Soph had a chance to get the ball. What that was like.
I mean, Renee played amazing the whole game. I think she kept it really composed, which is very hard to do. In your first game in Providence Park, like it can be a lot of emotions and a lot of energy, and it can get it's easy to kind of get carried away and like want to do too much, which I probably did a few times because I was excited. But Renee kept her calm and just kept the midfield flowing. And then obviously had 4 great goals, which is also hard to do. So you played great.
Thanks, so sweet. Yeah, like as you guys probably could tell, like immediately, like anytime Soph like gets near the ball or like when she was coming on, like such energy in the stadium, like so deserved. And I mean, of course you expect that because I'm sure everyone is just so happy to have her back. And I'm just so blessed to be playing next to her. But yeah, I mean, she had amazing chances of her own like in her minutes, and I'm just like so proud of her to see her back on the field doing what she loves and inspiring me. I mean, I've been watching her play for years and she's like, you know, one of the top players that I will always look up to. So I'm just excited to see her keep coming back, but she crushed it.
Right. I think that's all the questions we had in the room. Just making sure you guys are good back here. Sweet. All right. Well, thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
So, I don't know. I'm just kidding. Yeah. She is.
All right, all right. Excuse me. As always, 15 minutes. Feel like I don't need to repeat the rules again. You're limited to 2 questions, at least first go, and then we'll go around the room. And then when it's done, if you have more questions, we'll come back to you. That said, we'll start as always with Taylor in the honorary first. Sorry, Taylor. You're just assigned to that role.
If you could just start us off with your thoughts on the match.
Yeah, I think obviously with preseason, we've been trying to fine tune a few things, implement a few new things. And I think for us, like tonight was just a result of the process, honestly. Obviously, we got a good outcome tonight. We've had a positive process. And so for us, like that's something that we can take into next week with the spirit.
I guess, what were some of your goals coming into this scrimmage of kind of, I guess, what you wanted to see and how do you think you did against them?
Yeah, one of the things we wanted to see was just making sure that we could actually like build up and have some more progressive passes from centre backs into midfielders. I think you saw that tonight with some diagonal advancement through Jenny, Cassandra, Tatum when she went in. And then obviously like once we get into wide areas, like trying to have an inside and outside threat on the fullbacks. And then obviously box attacks, making sure that we're in the right places. We had some stutter balls to the back post, which was an area that we thought we could target against Monterrey. And I thought defensively we wanted to be compact, we wanted to be disciplined, we want to be hard to beat, we want to be hard to score on. And so for us, that's been kind of a focus over the last couple of weeks as well. And I thought we did a good job of that. I thought there was some stretches in the second half that the game got a little bit stretched, where that's just like going to be good in film to review and make sure that everybody's squared away for next week.
Now, I guess I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about just like this preseason more broadly, kind of what are a lot of faces coming through, kind of how do you balance that? Where do you feel like the team's at? Whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a challenge, but it's a challenge for every team in the league. Every team's going through players leaving and departing for international duty, lots of new faces coming in, but with challenge comes an opportunity. And I think you see like players like Renee have had like such a great opportunity this preseason, and she's took that opportunity. She's our top goal scorer in preseason. And so, yeah, I think every team deals with it. And, you know, we're going to obviously link up with our internationals next week who are playing minutes and obviously getting that under their belt as well, which is really important. But yeah, I think with challenge comes opportunity, and that's something that we've really tried to embrace. And one of the big themes in preseason has been about taking ownership and just making sure we can kind of reinforce kind of those behaviors as well throughout the preseason. So, you know, for us, like we know we're going to make mistakes. Like football is a game of mistakes at times, but it's just making sure that we learn from those mistakes, and so we don't make the same mistakes again moving forward.
The reports out of the Australia camp about Mackenzie Arnold's injury, do you have any more details or any, I guess, concern by the time she's expected back here?
Yeah, I don't actually have any updates right now, to be totally honest with you. I think that's something that we'll link up with medical and make sure that we obviously are in with the Australian Federation to make sure we get squared away. But I spoke to Maka today through text message, and I think she's doing well. And it's just, again, just obviously the injury that she's had is just making sure that we manage that so she's ready to come back when the time comes. Hopefully Australia goes all the way and wins it all.
And then the one goal that did get scored today against you, what do you think kind of happened there that kind of allowed them to kind of finally break through?
Yeah, again, I think for us, it's something that we've worked on. And again, it's a work in progress, is defending in wide areas and denying services into the box and working on those box defending principles that we have. I think it's tough when you're also inserting new players into a back line. The back line hasn't had a lot of cohesion. And I think Sam Hyatt, Molly McKenzie, Molly McDougall did great tonight. She settled into the game. And obviously Emma as well. Like she was really, really good tonight. So I think it's just them just working out those kinks and it just becomes comms from the back line as well to make sure we take care of those things. But again, that's something that we'll review and learn from, hopefully, against the Spirit, because we know they have a lot of threats out wide.
On the topic of injuries, kind of curious, Raylan Turner wasn't available tonight. Is there anything going on with her that you can update us on? And then obviously, Soph and Marie were allowed back this week.
Yep.
And I guess along with that, do you have any other updates on the other players who were SEIs?
Yeah, so in terms of Raylan, like for us, we're just being precautionary in terms of we want her available for the season. And as you know, the first 5 games of the season are very crunched in together. So I think that's the priority first and foremost. I think Raylan could have bagged a couple of goals tonight, as we know, like the threat that she is. In terms of other players, obviously you saw Soph and Marie get their first minutes tonight. That'll be something that we build upon in the next game. And the big thing for them too is going to be managing that as well, because obviously with the big load of games that we have, we need to make sure that we're managing them. Obviously we've got Kaya and Morgan, and they'll return later in the year. Can't give you a projected month, but I think probably later in the summer. Maybe Kaya is a little bit further ahead than that, but I think with Julie as well, like I think she she was just able to kind of progress through some of the things with medical this week, which is really exciting for her in terms of being able to. I think she was on the Alta G, which is progress for her, and she's really excited, really has a strong mentality. And so I know they'll all come back strong, and our medical team is working side by side with them every day, which is, we're really grateful for medical because they haven't had an off season, to be honest. As you know, we've had a lot of injuries, so just props to them and props to performance as well for making sure that we get players like Sophie Marie back.
The questions, because I can keep going. Okay. Okay. And then obviously you've been with this team for a second at this point. I guess I'm curious if you can kind of assess where the squad is at right now, kind of coming off of last year where you finished third in the league. I feel like there was still young squad, a lot of growth to be had there. And kind of with all the turnover of this offseason, what do you think are the things that you've been focusing on right now? What do you think are like goals that you have for this team going forward?
Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit for the group. I think the potential that this group has, I mean, the rosters is not built by accident. I think for us, we know that this group has really strong connections inside the locker room, and that's something that we're really trying to harness. We have great foundations, not only from last year that we've been able to build, but from previous years. And for us, it'll be about making sure we make the tweaks that we need, make the changes that obviously new head coach with Robert, we want to welcome him and make sure we implement those changes pretty quickly so the group has a seamless transition. But I think for us, like with a young group, it's exciting because you have a group that's malleable, they want to learn, they want to grow, and that's what we have with our team. And when you have that and you have that team cohesion, for me, like that's the first, and that's probably the first principle of any tactics. When you've got a group that's really strong and like, you know, is bought in, you can do anything.
And I guess what, if any, have been your conversations with the new head coach that was announced this past week?
Yeah, we've been in collaboration for a couple of weeks. So for us, it's just making sure, again, that we start to learn kind of the principles of play that he has, his game model, and we start to implement some of those tweaks as we move forward. As you know, the season's right around the corner. So for us, it's just making sure that we are in collaboration, all of us as a tech staff. He's obviously talking to other departments as well. And so, yeah, I mean, I think when he comes in, he's going to hit the ground running. But I think for myself personally, I've been through the situation before in Houston with Juan Carlos Amoros, you know, and so I'm kind of familiar with how it works. And again, our tech staff and the rest of our staff are going to be able to welcome him with open arms and just make sure that that transition is smooth as possible for him and the players. I think that's the most important thing. And it's what's best for the players, the club, and obviously the head coach.
And obviously, Robert coming in, depending on visa stuff, do you have any sort of projected timeline for that right now? Or is it just like as soon as you can get him in, whatever happens?
Yeah, we don't control the government in terms of appointments. I wish we could. I wish we could. That's something that we obviously have no control over. So again, it's just making sure that we're just patient and just kind of waiting. I know he's really antsy to get here, as you would be, and obviously that's something that he's expressed, and we're trying to make sure that again we can get a lot of the ideas that he has across in the best way possible to make sure that we're set up for success moving forward. But for us, I think the biggest thing is you know, like just long term for us is the focus. Obviously, the short term, the first 5 games of the season are going to be tough, and that's not just for us. That's every team with the schedules packed in, and for us, it's just really thinking about the long term of how we can build those ideas in to set us up for the long run.
And then kind of another more you-specific question. Yeah, you've been with the Thorns for a couple of years at this point. How do you think that you have grown and developed as a coach? Obviously, getting to serve as the interim coach a little bit in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've grown a lot, honestly, and I think sometimes you have to really step back and reflect. I mean, this is an honor. I don't take this lightly. I think I said that on media day. You know, I've had the opportunity this year to spend some time with Sani Bombosta from Chelsea, Charlotte Healy, who used to work at Man United, and other Premier League assistant coaches throughout the UEFA Pro license. And so I've just really been trying to learn from as many coaches as I can and make sure that, you know, the things that I can bring back to the Thorns, and, you know, the club support me in that. I've making trips back and forth to Europe, which is awesome. But yeah, I think it's a big honor. I've learned a lot. I've obviously been in the situation before, but I feel like I'm more equipped. The more reps you get at something, I guess the better you get. And so, yeah, I just, you know, I'm really grateful for the club. And again, just want to make sure that I do what's best for the team, do what's best for the club, and set us up for success moving forward. Thank you. I think that was more than 2 questions, by the way.
It was.